Hi guys, welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Angel, and today I'm actually doing a video that was requested by one of you guys. So hopefully I'm saying your name right, but Sova asked if I could do a video of all the plants that basically did not survive in my care. So all the plants I murdered. I thought, okay, that could be interesting. And obviously I don't have the plants with me because they went into plant land, but I do have pictures that I will be putting up on the screen in the beginning of my plant journey. So that was around March. I knew absolutely nothing about conditions, about watering, about soil, fertilization, nothing. I don't know why this is so embarrassing. It's embarrassing, okay? It's embarrassing 8 months later, knowing what I know now, and I could have saved myself a lot of heartache. Why does this feel like a confession, like plant confessions? Plant mom confessions. All right, that's what this will be. Let's just get started, okay? So, I bought this little succulent jade arrangement. I didn't have it anywhere near bright light. I was completely overwatering it. Every time I went to go and touch it, one of the jade pieces would just like fall right off. So when I noticed it wasn't doing well, then I started to do the research, and by that time it was a goner, but I was like, oh, it needs more light, it's a succulent, let me put it by a window. Yeah, no, that wasn't gonna work because I was still watering it too much. I tried to save it, and the only picture I have of it is after it was already dying. You can see it's yellowing, you can see it just drooping, like it's not good. And then I went ahead and bought a calathea. I didn't even know that this plant was a calathea. I only know now. What I was calling it was a velvet jungle or something like that. So my calathea was in a very shaded area with no humidity. It started to just shrivel up. It wasn't doing good. So I thought again, oh, I'll put it by a window by my kitchen sink. And by that time, yeah, it was a goner. And I really thought I could save it somehow. I don't know how. I think that a lot of these plants, like I just really overwatered and obviously was not giving them the right lighting conditions. And I realized too that the soil I was using was not good. A lot of the plants that I got in my early days, I did not give them the right soil. I also got this really interesting snow white waffle plant, and I'm not even sure what the scientific name for it is. That one was, I don't know, it was weird. The texture was really weird. It kind of reminded me of like a Fittonia. And I think with that one, when I started to notice little things weren't going well with it, maybe it was losing a lot of leaves or getting wrinkly or whatever, I just was like moving it like every week. I was like, oh, it doesn't like it here, it doesn't like it here. So that I realize is really bad to do with your plants. Like they need consistency, and not just like moving from like this shelf, now this shelf, but like moving completely in a different room with different lighting and different conditions. And for a plant, that's a lot. Like we see light way differently than plants see light. So it might not seem like a big adjustment for us, but it is for the plant. And when they get moved, they need to acclimate, and in that time they're not really using their energy to soak up water or get nutrients or anything. They're just kind of trying to like survive. When they're in that kind of state, you want to not water them, because when you water them, they're not ready to take in that water, so they're just kind of drowning in the water. Whenever I do have to move a plant, I just leave it. I don't water it. Even if the soil is dry, I just kind of wait for it to acclimate before I start watering it again, just so that it doesn't have that risk of drowning. Because I definitely lost a lot of plants doing that. Oh, one that I'm so devastated about is my string of pearls. So if you guys remember, Shane had got me a string of pearls and a string of dolphins in the mail. They were in 4-inch pots, but the actual foliage was very small. So I kind of felt like it probably wasn't ready to be potted. But my string of pearls was doing really well. It was growing really well. It had a lot of babies. I had it in a bright light area with no humidity, very dry air. I was letting the soil completely dry out, but just one time I watered it too soon. I was just a little impatient. I was scared of the roots drying out. Well, like the next day or the day after I watered it, I went to check on it and it was all mushy. And I was like, no, I was so devastated. I took it out of soil and there was nothing to save, like nothing. I was so devastated, but it did teach me that with succulents, especially with like the string of varieties, even if the soil is dry, check the foliage. And that is one thing that I have done consistently with my string of bananas. I do not water it until the soil is dry and the foliage has a little give to them. If I pinch the little banana and it's firm, I know that it's retaining water and it's okay. But if it has a little give, if I can squeeze it just a little bit, it's ready to be watered. Another plant that I still don't really know a lot about is air plants. So a friend got me 2 air plants. One was larger and one was smaller. For some reason, the larger one is still alive and the smaller one just turned like completely gray. So I think a couple things happened. One, I have the larger one in the window, like right up against the window, and I know the air plants like a lot of light. My smaller air plant was in this room, on this side of the room, not very close to the window. So I think number 1, it wasn't getting enough light. And number 2, I mean, this is just like speculation because again, I don't know a lot about air plants, but because the plants were 2 different sizes, I think that I should have been watering the smaller plant a little bit more often because I kind of had them on the same watering schedule. I think that it needed a little bit more moisture. I'm not sure. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I didn't even know if the smaller one was really dead. Finally, one day I just put it on Instagram and asked if it was even alive, and most of you guys said that it was dead. So I just put it to rest. So that was my air plant. I did buy a type of syngonium, I believe it is, because it's like shaped like an arrowhead plant. When I brought it home, I was keeping it in a quarantine area like I do with all my new plants. It was growing new babies, but all of the mature leaves were just drooping and falling off. And then as the new leaves would grow and unfurl, after like 2 weeks of being alive, they would drop off. So it was never really doing well. It definitely had pests. I didn't get insecticide at that time. I was just using neem oil. So it probably needed something a little bit stronger. When I noticed that it just still wasn't doing well, I ended up just putting it to rest because, I mean, I don't want to just have plants to have plants. Like, I don't want to just be like, oh, this is how many plants I have, like it's a high number, blah, blah, blah. No, like I have plants because they bring me joy, because I think that they're beautiful. I know that plants are a lot of work, so they're not always going to be beautiful, but if it's just never doing well, it's not going to bring me joy. Now to my ferns. Even before I started really collecting plants, I always loved ferns. Like, anytime I saw a fern in a TV show, like I just thought it was so beautiful. Like, one fern from a TV show that is so iconic to me that I will always remember is the fern they had in Friends. Like, first season, it was in Monica's apartment. It was on a big like pedestal kind of thing near her, I think her TV or her entertainment center or whatever, but it was just so luscious and gorgeous. I saw that they had this fern. It was huge Boston fern, and it didn't look that good. Like, it looked like it was neglected, and I was like to Shane, I was like, I'm gonna save this fern, I love it. Now I realize that it's very rare for people to be able to have a fern that thrives, and you know, they're some of the most picky, finicky plants that need like just the right conditions. But I was determined, and right off the bat I just didn't know what I was doing. So I had my Boston in the opposite room that has a west facing window. I had it right up against the window with no humidity. No, it wasn't doing good. I'm pretty sure that I was overwatering it. I'm pretty sure that it was in a pot that was way too big for it. So when I still had that big Boston, I was still trying to revive it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a smaller Boston that's doing well, just in case that one doesn't make it, like I'll still have a Boston. So I got a smaller Boston, and I had that one probably in better conditions. I had it in my dining room that has north facing light. I still don't think I had a humidifier by it though. I had those two Boston ferns, and then I got a rabbit's foot fern, and I had that one in my living room way far away from the window. Then I think once I got that third fern, I ended up buying the little humidifier. The rabbit's foot, I think, thrived more than any of the other ferns that I had. It was doing really well. So around this time, I started to research fertilizer, what I needed to do to fertilize my plants. I don't know what in the world caused me to think that this was a good idea, but I ended up putting fertilizer, this is so embarrassing. I ended up putting fertilizer in a spray bottle with water, and I sprayed my plants. So after that, I lost so many plants. So I lost all three of my ferns. I mean, my big Boston was out the door anyways. And I also had these two beautiful rainbow moss plants that were just like hanging and getting really long and beautiful. And I did that to them as well. I sprayed the tops of them, I sprayed their foliage with my fertilizer mixture. They got so bad, they ended up starting to smell like ammonia. So I was desperate and I researched like how to save your plants from over fertilizing, but that wasn't even the issue. Like, it's not that I over fertilized them, it's that I sprayed their foliage with fertilizer. When I researched how to save a plant from being over fertilized, I saw that you could like flush your plant out and then you have to like let it dry. So that's what I attempted to do with my rainbow moss. I tried to repot it with fresh soil, but it was a goner. Anytime I lose a plant, I definitely learn a lot. Like, I feel like that is just like how you become a better plant parent. I wish that I didn't have to lose plants, but there's been 3 times where I've lost a type of plant, but I've gotten it again, like I bought it another time, and I've been able to keep that plant alive. So the first one was my moon cactus, which was actually a housewarming gift like 3 years ago. It was doing really well for a long time. It was growing the little bulb babies on it. Like, it was always in a bright area. I was a huge helicopter mom. I just needed to take care of my plants. I needed to do something with them. So I definitely was overwatering my moon cactus. And then I just like decided to give up on it because it was getting like discolored and really shrivelly. Yeah, I put that one to rest. But after the next day of putting it to rest, my coworker shows up and gives me a new moon cactus. Not even like, she had no idea that I had just lost one. So it just was really good timing. The other one was my elephant's bush that I got, I think, from Walmart. The first time it was variegated, it was very big, and Shane really liked it. I did not have it in the right conditions. It needs a lot of light, but I did not have it anywhere near light, anywhere near a window, and I was not letting the soil dry out. Like, I was watering it way too much, and it was just dropping leaves like crazy. I went a while without buying another one, but after a couple months, I saw another elephant's bush at Walmart that was not variegated, so I decided to pick that one up. The other one that I had killed originally was my Fittonia. That is another one that died because I over fertilized it and fertilized its foliage. I think I tried to flush that one out as well, and then I even put it outside in the direct sunlight to try and dry out. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. It was a goner though. I did end up getting another one. It's in a north facing window. It has a grow light on it. It has some humidity, and I definitely don't water it until the soil is dry, or if it has that Photonia flop. The last plants that I killed, I'm sure you can guess, are my begonia rexes. So I had 3 begonia rexes. I had 2 painted leaf begonias and 1, I believe it's an escargot begonia rex. So my first painted leaf begonia, I killed that one, but I was able to save some of its clippings and I had it grow new roots. It was growing babies and everything, and so I repotted it. But I had bought another painted leaf begonia and it thrived. Like, it was doing so good. It had so much new growth. It was lush, but I think that I just got lazy and I used tap water on it to water it once, and it was never the same. And I think that's what happened to my escargot begonia as well. Like, dude, those things are so touchy. They don't like their foliage to be touched. They don't like unfiltered water. It sucked, but I definitely think that I'm gonna just stay away from begonia rexes. I'm gonna stay away from ferns. So I think that that is all the plants that I have killed in my 8 months of being a plant mom. And I will say that 2 of my plants right now seem like they're out the door, so I might have to do another one of these plant mom confessions. Well, guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and maybe some things that I did wrong can help you guys to not make the same mistakes. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!